Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Bill with ServiceTitan Hacks. Thanks for taking time out of your Tuesday and joining us on this Fireside Chat webinar. And we're going to do a practical conversation with Jonathan Brewster with AquaClear. And he's going to share what he's done in his business to increase his referrals. And Jonathan was able to attribute $1 million in the last 12 months to referrals, so significant amount of money. We also have Murphy and Keith from ReferPro, and ReferPro has been helping them get those referrals with their process that they have. And so welcome everybody. And Jonathan, Murphy, how you guys doing today?
Awesome, Bill. Thanks for having us. Good to be with you and JB as always.
Yeah, good seeing you
Fantastic.
all.
So JB, I'm going to start with you. Before you change anything, how are you handling referrals in your business? What was your old process like?
Yeah, so we use something called Get the Referral. So they made an app for us, and the clients would download the app and have to do a login, and then they could do different things on the app, but referrals was the big piece of it. And then also just call-ins, people calling in and being like, my friend referred us. And then we do a custom field in ServiceTitan, and we would report on that monthly and, all that stuff, and just hope a human typed it in right.
So were you able to not attribute some of the referrals? So a person, one of your CSRs had to enter that every time, even though you had that app?
Yeah, because the app we noticed didn't get a ton of downloads just because there was a lot of friction involved. And then once
Hmm.
they got the app, it's remembering to go in here to type it in. You could do push notifications, but just wasn't enough people to really reach. Because in that case, let's say you get 200 downloads of your app, that's 200 people, so it's not that much. So
Yeah.
I was looking for a better solution and I found ReferPro.
How long were you using the previous solution for?
I want to say 3 years probably.
See, for a while, but you couldn't be confident in your revenue attribution. And then, did you ever have customers call you and say, "Where's my referral bonus?" Because they referred you, but it never was documented. That happened to me. It was really frustrating as a contractor for that to happen.
No, we're perfect, so we never mess up. No, I'm kidding.
It must have only been me, you know?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
all the time, definitely. And then you always think about who didn't call me and's pissed off at me. And maybe you lose a client because they're like, I can't trust this guy. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. And so the way that you do the referrals today, what's that process kind of look like? And what do you do for it? Like you send out links to the clients, do your technicians talk about, hey, if I did a good job, give me a 5-star review and give me a referral and all that. Kind of, how's that work for you guys?
Yeah. We ask our technicians to do a lot. I always feel like every week it's putting some on them. Hey, do this, do that. We reward them a pretty high percentage of the sale if they get a referral. Ours is like 5% of the sale for a referral.
Okay.
So we give a lot of money to our team members for a referral. So they're definitely incentivized to, use the app and turn them over. I wouldn't say they consistently ask on every call. In a perfect world that would
Hmm.
exist. But I wouldn't say they do. But ReferPro, ties in the ServiceTitan, and they just text my list. I don't really know the frequency. I'm guessing once a week because I literally set this thing up and it's just run for a year, and I really haven't touched anything to be honest.
You just look at the reports and revenue attribution. That's pretty much it. So, Murphy, how often do you send messages out to Jonathan's customers?
Yeah, I think AquaClear is set up on a 45-day cadence, and a lot of that is customizable, right? We want to treat every one of your partners and customers personalized, so it's a very personalized approach based on, past behaviors and things like that. So there's a lot of customization involved. I'd say part of the platform is the technology and ability to automate it that JB's talked about with AquaClear. But also there's a lot of data that we have, tens of millions of end users now, and data to
Mm.
understand the best practices of what that message should contain, what the content is, how often it should go out at different times for different types of customers, different requests, what that referral incentive should look like, and the conversion rates according to that. And so, yeah, there's a lot. I think that's where you guys are at though today. JB is about 45-day cadence, and so, um, yeah, that's part of it is just staying front of mind, making sure they're aware of your referral program, making sure they understand and remember your business, 5, 6,
Mm.
12 months later after the job. and that you're asking for it proactively. I think we'll get into it, but the title of the webinar today is the 83% referral gap that we can talk about. And that's definitely a piece of it, is just stay in front of mind.
So you're sending out a text message 45 days after completed job to the customers, so you give it some time to make sure that they're satisfied and everything. Is that how that works?
Well, typically we'll go same day, right after the job.
Okay.
So as soon as, ServiceTitan in this case triggers that job completion, we'll trigger that first request post-service. We want to strike while it's hot. And then after that, we'll do a drip campaign post-service from emails and SMS messages into the future at that customizable cadence to make sure that they don't forget about it into the future. Yeah.
So JB, you mentioned something about your guys having an app to do referrals. Can they just use a text message to kind of text it into ServiceTitan, or do they have an app with a QR code, or either way? How's that work for the
As it exists today?
Mhm.
Yeah, so I would, within ReferPro, you have an employees section. And I just teach them how to add a bookmark, to their iPhone with that link. So it's all tracked back to them. And then when they put a lead in, it syncs to the bookings tab of ServiceTitan and just tags it through the whole conversion cycle.
Okay. And you said, some guys will do it, some guys won't. It's not super consistent, but we do ask the technicians to do a lot. Sell the job, do the work, get a 5-star review, get a referral. So it's also nice that you have that automated follow-up that's working in the background. Would you say that the majority of the responses come from that kind of automation that they have?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot about, technology scales complexity. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like ServiceTitan, because it is so complex. And these other apps that we buy, this is one of the few apps where I've just set it up and it's worked. And it didn't make anything more complex for me. It made it simpler without a big learning curve.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge tech guy. I love tech, but sometimes it just gets too complex.
Yeah, you've already invested so much time into ServiceTitan. You don't want another tab open that you're going to have to invest that much time in, right? Because the time is money. So when do you feel like you kind of noticed the shift when it started working for you? Was it kind of right away, or did it scale up as far as that goes?
I would say it was pretty instant gratification. I love that I have the text campaign of like when a ReferPro comes in, just to my personal phone, which you could do that in ServiceTitan, with alerts, but it's just kind of set up for me. I mean, we get 1 to 2 referrals a day, and, sometimes it's even service, existing client is like, hey, I need service, but it's still dollars coming in, and I haven't touched it.
That's good. So we were talking a little while back, before we set up this webinar, and you told me that you give like $200 per referral. And that really struck me, because in my business, I used to give like $25 for a completed service call, or maybe $50. And then if you bought a replacement HVAC system from us, it was $250, which was not a lot for what the cost of the system was. And I think that was really, really harmful for me, because customers really weren't that incentivized for the referral. So when you told me you give $200 regardless, I was like, oh man, I really missed the mark on being cheap on that, And so have you always done that kind of dollar amount, or did you scale it up, or?
Yeah, I would say if I was in someone's shoes that didn't have a referral program right now, I would do a campaign summary report in ServiceTitan, show all your campaigns, and then there's a column that says close rate, total sales, right? If you have, let's just say, a referral campaign, that close rate is probably going to be one of the highest close rates out of any campaign you have, right?
Yeah.
So let's times that close rate by the average ticket. That'll give you your dollars per lead. That will probably be the highest out of any campaign you do. So if you broke down the lifetime value on a referral client versus a Google Ads client or something like that, it's going to be higher. So me personally, I would probably pay more. It's worked very well for me at $200, so I haven't taken it up. It may be something I do one day to see if we get more, if I put more money to it. I haven't done it yet. But I would say look at that and then say, what's my customer acquisition cost? And I would pay a lot more than $50. And it will give you a competitive advantage because most other companies do $50 or $100. Now you could tier it, like you could do, my business is home improvement. So anyone buying something from me is high ticket. So that's where I'm a little different, right? I'm not doing service calls and maintenance calls to new clients really. So anyone that gets referred is buying a new system pretty much. So that's where I'm a little different.
Okay. So you've got a little bit more money to give out on the referral on the front end, but you're able to run a report in ServiceTitan that tells you how much you can really give. And so, I mean, a lot of contractors do have a drop down for campaigns for referrals, but obviously it's not always attributed well unless you have some sort of a robust automation going for that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, in the replay, we'll kind of put some instructions together to show or to instruct a little quick walkthrough for you guys on how you can run that report. So if you haven't looked at your campaigns, I'll show you how to do that. And that's even for, do you have Marketing Pro? Do you have Marketing Pro in your ServiceTitan?
Yeah.
JB?
Yeah. And we use Searchlight, which I believe is a lot better attribution software that removes some of the human error for the digital side of things. But that's how we get our ROAS. I mean, I would say a referral is the highest ROAS out of any campaign for most businesses. But, I would say 99% of businesses do not have a systematic referral process that they follow every time. And that's where ReferPro bridges that gap because there's really no human involvement except for the payout piece, which you can do that on a weekly or monthly cadence, whatever works for you.
Do you handle the referral or the payouts yourself, or do you just have someone in the office do it? What's that look like to do the payouts?
Yeah, our accounting team does it.
Okay.
So they just go into ReferPro and we give in-store credit. We don't even give dollars. So
okay.
We got a payment type referral credit in ServiceTitan. So we create a payment on the customer level, and then their balance is negative 200. And then when they go do a service, they apply that to the invoice. Hits the right GL, marketing referrals to track all that.
But there's a bunch of different ways you can do it, right, Murphy? You can do the store credits, or from what I saw on your website, they have like gift cards, or you could send, Visa gift cards, or really just depends on what you specifically want to do for your business to incentivize the referrals. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Both JB and AquaClear do a great job of that, and that's definitely enticing. We also have the full payment automation and platform on the ReferPro dashboard, so you can automate that piece and send them. Currently, we have 230 options, so you send them that $200, and then they can redeem it, one of those 230 options, whether that's a MasterCard, Visa, same as cash kind of option, or any kind of. There's a bunch of different opportunities that they can have, and then when they use that, they think about the business, is what we found. So this incentive piece you're talking about and how that's worked for AquaClear is a huge part of that, right? We have conversion ratios of if you go 50 to 100 to 250 to 500, depending on your business and your customer acquisition cost. Obviously, there's customizations there, but that is a big element. We talk about this referral gap. 83% of your customers are willing to refer your business, and only 29% actually do. So. JB, you mentioned 99% don't have a formalized referral program. I think that's true from all the many businesses we work with across the country and even outside of the country now. Most of them look at referrals as kind of an organic, you leave it on the shelf and it happens. And that's true. That 29% will refer you no matter what. They love your business and they're going to find a way to refer you. But what most people don't realize is that other 54% who are willing, you've done a good job, you've built the trust. They've got a network of people that they could refer to your business, but they're not. And the main reasons we found, to boil it down, are that staying front of mind that we talked about. You got to stay front of mind, your business, your referral program. 2, you've got to make it very easy. There can't be friction or else people won't do it. As JB mentioned, you got to make it very easy to submit referrals and track the attribution on it. And then you've got to incentivize and you got to follow through on those incentives. JB again mentioned that lack of trust. You've got all these people that trust you and you've done a good job for. When you don't follow up on their leads they refer to you, or you don't pay them out on those incentives, you've now got people who are frustrated, and it has the opposite effect if you don't manage your referral program effectively. If it's manual, we've seen personal businesses, our partners and customers, it just doesn't happen. So you've got to add that element of automation and know how to do that. So yeah, there's a lot of, the size of the incentive matters a lot, and we can help, provide best practices based on your exact business. I know Keith's been in the HVAC space for almost 20 years at this point, but he is fairly new. He's our head of partnerships now at ReferPro. Many of you will get to know him, but he's fairly new here and he's seen kind of the results. And I don't know if you have anything to add to that piece of it, Keith, from what you've seen since coming in on all the results that you've seen so far.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that just stands out to me, like JB's experience and being able to see that much revenue tied to the customers that he's working with is not like a one-off, which is crazy for me. I come from another software company where it wasn't quite as easy to be able to tie back an ROI on what you're paying for a software and what you get out of it. And that's one of the things that surprised me the most over here at ReferPro is you're able to see a direct line. This came in as a referral. This came out as a job. This is how much ROI you're getting. And being able to see that on a dashboard and be able to have your employees be able to see that, it's pretty amazing. The one thing I will add on what JB was saying, for JB, he just does a $200 flat, but we've got a lot of customers that, similar to you, Bill, in the HVAC industry, you're going to have lower ticket items that you're not going to pay as high of a referral bonus on, and we can customize that depending on how much the jobs are and be able to automate that amount as well. So we want to make sure that you guys are making money on all these referral jobs that are coming in for you. And Murphy's really done a great job building this out.
Have you seen a correlation of what the incentives are versus the volume of referrals? So if you kind of go big at the beginning and give a higher dollar amount, do you see that as far as the return? I mean, you guys have all the data probably in the world on that, Murphy. What do you guys usually see?
It's pretty drastic. We see a massive jump at the $100 mark. There's a pretty, over $100, there's a big jump. And when you get 250 range, there's another pretty big jump. 500, there's another significant jump there. Again, that's up to, so you're only paying that out on a new install, for example, not on a service call. And then we have people who are up to, we service roofers and restoration. We have a lot of roofing will go between 500 and 2,000 on those jobs. Again, this comes back to your average ticket, your customer acquisition cost. You have, restoration that'll go up to 5,000 incentive. So it really does move the needle, and it just depends on your business needs. The way JB mentioned this, and I look at it as well, is you'd rather pay your customer who's going to create a lifetime customer. They're going to come back and repeat business with you and send you more referrals versus pay that to Google or Meta, who has a lower, conversion rate, and it doesn't have that kind of lifetime value effect of creating goodwill with your customers. Personally, I'd spend it with my customers all day over other marketing channels.
Yeah,
for sure.
We've seriously considered turning off all marketing and just giving gifts to our clients and giving them all our marketing budget. It'd be a wild thing to do. Probably won't do it, but we toyed with the idea. Because it's just better leads.
I mean, you can set marketing dollars on fire with Google or Meta. I've done it before. I've spent so much on customer acquisition costs for periods. I thought, man, I could just buy an iPad for each person in this neighborhood, put my logo on it, put it on their doorstep and say, call me when you need me. And it was just, it's just so, marketing's just so expensive and it's just getting more expensive, So I don't know, JB, turning everything off though, man, that seems a little drastic. Give that a shot.
But you always just think about, if you do what everyone else does, you're going to get the same results as them, and it's going to be linear. If you're in a Next Star or these best practice groups, everyone's doing that. So you're not that different, right? So my perspective is ReferPro gives you a way to do things a little differently. And that's really the whole game is, how can we be different and do innovative things that in some industries are very common, but they're not common in our industry, and they can be revolutionary. Like there was a time where probably financing was just in car sales, and then someone brought it to HVAC, and it was probably revolutionary at some point in time.
Sure. Yeah. And now it's mandatory. That makes sense. So, let's go back to talking about what you incentivize the technician. You said you give them on a referral 5% of the job's revenue or gross profit. How do you incentivize them?
Yeah, on the revenue.
Man, that seems like a really good amount of money. What do you think? What do you think's keeping them from working harder to get those referrals, man. You pay them too much on the front end. I mean, 5%, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's always the question, right? Some people aren't money driven. Everyone's got a number, and once they hit it, that carrot doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. Murphy and Keith, on your side, as far as that goes, do you see a good amount of those referrals come from the technicians? What's kind of like that on average, that distribution?
Yeah, I would say the efficiency is much higher. So we have some data when the technician on the doorstep scans that, and again, we've got it on the phone, like JB's got it. We've got badges. We'll build out. We have all sorts of options. NFC, tap to scan technology on the wrist or the keychain that they can use to generate that referral link. So those ones in person, they scan at about a 40%. 40% of the time that's scanned, it results in a referral. It's much higher than obviously a message, but it's also less volume. So it's a volume play and an efficiency play. So we obviously want to look at the three buckets. Your customer base is a gold mine of repeat business as well as referral business. We've talked about that. We want to be proactive in that approach. 2 is your employees, your technicians. We want to give them the same incentive. So you're not asking them to do things, you're giving them the incentive, and some of them will do it, some of them may not, but at least you're giving them the tools and the incentive to go buy into that program. And then the third is affiliates and other businesses. That could be a real estate agent referring to your business. It could be another business in the area, or a plumber to a restoration company. There's lots of examples. Those are the 3 buckets, and they do have different efficiencies. Some convert at a much higher ratio than others, but you want to combine all of them as best as possible in a holistic approach that we can help cater into your business and drive ultimately the most revenue for your company through those different channels. But yeah, we do see that, and we have different ways to help incentivize and get them bought in. We'll fly out. We'll do a training in person. We have a lot of success with that. Depends on how big your team is. We've got businesses with 700 technicians and trucks in the field. We've got, owner operators. And so it depends on your business and how we want to approach that. But we'll do trainings and best practices and give you the playbook and support to do that as much as you want to.
Now, I haven't done this yet, but I was thinking before this call, how could I make ReferPro better and be the #1 company with the most revenue tracked back to ReferPro? And what I was thinking about is there's all these Facebook groups, right? Of like, for my business, it would be different because I'm in water treatment. But you could literally go in all these Facebook groups and you could say, hey, want to earn extra money? Join my affiliate program, tier 1, 2, 3 for the job dollar amount. You do a sign up form through ReferPro, they get their link. They don't even have to be your client and they could refer you. And you could seriously just go in Facebook groups and just post that for people to earn money. I haven't done it, but it's something I was thinking about today.
Yeah, I love that, JB. Every link, whether it's the technician, employee, or the customer, has an integration into Facebook and Instagram, every social media. So you just click the button and it pulls it up. So if it's, community, HOA page, there's a lot of success with that. I love that idea.
I mean, if you don't do it, you're guaranteed to get 0 referrals from that channel, right?
Exactly.
That's the easiest way to do it. Yeah. Nice. So do you see a lot of, do you get a lot of referrals from the real estate and other businesses, or is it mostly through residential clients?
Yeah, really no affiliates are on ReferPro. So the $1 million is not including our other channels. So we call them strategic partners. So we do really well with those as well. Home builders, plumbers that don't do water treatment, well drillers, some real estate agents. But, realtors are weird.
Working for realtors too much. If we look at the real estate agent average ticket, not the greatest.
Yeah.
And then get those leads as somebody's trying to sell a home and trying to spend the least amount of money possible on their HVAC and plumbing. You're probably not selling a lot of water treatment or water filtration systems when somebody's got their home up for sale, right? And you're just doing some maintenance on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have strategic partners for sure. And I need to get them on ReferPro. It's just them remembering to go to the link to do it rather than just text or call us. It's just human nature, right? We could come to them and say, hey, if you don't put it through this link, you don't get paid out, because we don't know. But it's kind of just one of those things. Another pro tip on the referrals, though, is when you get one from ReferPro, group text the people. So group text the person that referred and the referee. So that's a pro tip just to help that conversion go up when you get the lead.
Right. So thanking the person that sent it for the referral, because they wouldn't know until after the job's done if it was through the automation. does ReferPro have that feature, or is that just something you manage in Office right now?
It would come in the bookings tab of ServiceTitan.
Okay.
And then it has the person that referred and then the referee.
Mhm.
And then we would group text that person and be like, hey, Bill, thanks so much for referring Janine. Janine, we'd love to get you great water like Bill. Something like that.
Yeah.
It puts the social pressure of, like, because if you just straight up text them, they may not really, there's so much spam in this day and age. It's hard for people to trust. So you've gotten a referral. You're hoping the dude told the person he referred that you'd be calling him. But if you put them in a group text, it's kind of like all the trust circle is built.
That's a really smart thing to do. Much better of a warm handoff, right? Yeah, I like that.
And then he
Sets
gets
up
the
that expectation
gratification.
that we're gonna.
He gets the gratification knowing that we followed up. And then they can text privately behind that group text and be like, hey, what's this about? So I think it's a good pro tip for people that get referrals.
That is a good idea. How long, and this might probably for you, Murphy or Keith, what's the onboarding process look like? How long does it take to get up and running if you decided to start this referral program?
I could take this one if you want, Murphy, and you can correct me if I say anything wrong. But usually what we strive for is to be able to get customers up and running and sending campaigns within 7 days of them signing the agreement and getting onboarded with us. Usually it's 2 or 3 Zoom calls that are, 30 minutes long to be able to get, the connection made with ServiceTitan, get the phone line set up to be able to send out those text messages from ReferPro. And then the last call would be to be able to do some training with any members of the team that are going to be interfacing with the platform. So we try to make it super easy. It's just like JB said, we're trying to do instant gratification here where we're getting referrals coming in right out of the gate. And that's what we're striving for here.
Do you guys do like tech training too as well, like over Zoom if the contractor wants it?
Absolutely. So each account's going to be assigned a customer success manager. And anytime our customers need additional training, they have unlimited training available with their customer success manager. And so that goes for any of their office staff, any of their technicians. We can be able to run as many trainings as they need to be able to feel confident with the product.
Another pro tip too that I noticed is I don't know how everyone sets up their ServiceTitan and their CRM, but I feel like a lot of people don't put their leads in the ServiceTitan. They just put clients after they schedule the job. I would text everyone in your database. So if you've got like a go high level with your leads or some other CRM where your leads live, I noticed we just text everyone and we would get referrals from people that never even scheduled jobs with us. So it's like, why not? You paid for this client's information through some marketing channel. That's an asset on your balance sheet. People don't think about their customers as assets on the balance sheet, but it really is. So reactivate that asset that you already sunk money into. Text everyone. There's no downside.
You're definitely blaze a new path when it comes to customer communication. Gosh, that group text is such a good idea. And then adding all of those leads makes sense too, because you're right. Right now, we only add them if they actually become a customer. You lose that visibility. And put that on the list of things that I wish I would have done before, but it's just how it is, right? So
you could
that's
some
write good takeaways,
book.
JB.
That'd be a good book to write. Things I wish I would have known, a memoir.
I mean, isn't that kind of what all coaching is? Watch out for this. Don't do this. And then, as an entrepreneur, we're like, I think it'll work this time for me. The coach will tell you, this has never worked. I've never seen this work ever. I'm different. So got to learn things the hard way sometimes.
And then if you mess with ReferPro, I haven't, but just change one variable per time you test. So let's say I'm at $200 and I want to see if 300 works better. Don't change any other variable. Just do the dollar or the language or something. So you know what piece of the puzzle works.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you can do that. You could just go right into the system and change it and it'll update it.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
then ReferPro, you guys will help if, you need that training and everything. But for the most part, it's pretty much a setup at the beginning. Set it, forget it, see the money come in, like every marketing channel.
Yeah, we do have a scorecard similar to what a Titan score would be in ServiceTitan, where we can tell you where you're optimized, where you're not, and where the gaps are. So you can, then test those variables one at a time if you'd like, or do them all at once. But we have a lot of data already to show what moves the needle, and obviously there's some customization to that. But we do have a good view into what moves the needle and how to best optimize for that we can coach you up on up front. And then you can go change things over time and test with your platform.
Yeah, that's perfect. Fantastic. So, JB, you have anything else that you want to say about referrals that would help contractors? Any more of these golden pro tips?
Let me think about it. If you're not getting referrals, when you do ReferPro, it's not because ReferPro doesn't work. It's because you're not a good enough company to refer, is the way I would think about it.
That's a
Because
harsh reality, but it's true.
That's what I see sometimes of like softwares don't work or something like that. And usually it's not the software company's fault. Like for instance, marketing companies, they get blamed for everything, right? But when you dig into it, the attribution's wrong. They don't answer the phone quick. They're not open past 5 p.m. They don't have automation tech set up, all these things. So if you set up ReferPro and it doesn't work well, there may be something in the company where you're not worth referring.
Yeah, those are those companies where even 29% of your customers wouldn't refer you as a specific company. But for the most part, I mean, there's a lot of companies doing a great job out there that it would get that by default 29%, right? And then you get up to in the 80s when you actually have an automated process for it. But yeah,
For sure.
that makes a lot of sense. Be
If
a
you
company
give
that's
client-
worth referring.
Yep. And then another pro tip I just thought about, if you're on ServiceTitan, make a link for yourself or the company owner, whomever, a company ReferPro link, like a general one. Put it in every communication in your ServiceTitan in the sense of like, you could put on your dispatch text, right? You could say, earn money for, that's what we do. Earn money for X, or earn money for referring your friends and family. So that link is on every invoice that we email, every estimate that we email. I think it's even on the dispatch text right there. So we're just increasing if you're sending 10,000 text messages a month through ServiceTitan and you're sending a couple thousand invoices, just give yourself the best opportunity to get referrals and put it everywhere you're communicating with the client.
JB and AquaClear do a great job of that. We do see that as a huge needle mover, whether it's in all those messages that JB talked about. It could also be in your email signatures for your team. It could be on your website, a referral program tab on your website where you just embed we have all the backlinks ready to go. You just embed that in your website. You put it on your social media channels. We've got some people running Spiffs for Spouses where you get all the spouses of the employees and technicians with an affiliate link or a strategic partner link, and then they can go share that on Facebook or within their community. So there's a lot of ways that we can, the bigger net, the wider the net we can cast with that referral link, whether it's customers, employees, or partners. Obviously, the more referrals that's going to bring in. To touch base also on JB's text, we do automate their group chat is incredible. We do automate the first piece of that, which is a little portion of it, letting them know they've been referred so they can go book. We are working on a feature. We're excited to roll this out at some point. It is fairly complicated, but we've been working on it to help automate that group text. So in each referral link, you'll see it's integrated with iMessage with your messaging app. So we can integrate, if you do send it through text, it can start to track the attribution on it. To create that into a group text automatically after the referral has been submitted has been something that we've been working on. So we'll keep working with JB on that to try to automate it. But yeah, for the time being, it's great practice to go create that circle of trust and set that up manually. It is something that we've been working on to automate. There's some factors at play that make it tricky, but we're getting closer there.
And one other pro tip, always look at what the referral bought and how much money they spent, because without a shadow of a doubt, they told their friend that you're going out to. So that's another pro tip. Yeah. Know what they bought, not because we ever change pricing, but we have tons of different packages, right? So expectation is what the friend bought always. So put that in the job notes when you're running the call.
That's gold. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the transcript of this webinar and I'm going to turn it into an action item list with people so they can make sure that they knock some of these things out. I like that. That's good ideas. Those are good ideas. So let me open this up to Q&A. Do we have any questions for JB, for Murphy, for Keith? Anything? So Keith, you said that you have a special going on for the ServiceTitan Hacks members. Can you tell me what that is? Like special?
Absolutely.
pricing off?
Yeah, so for any contractor that wants to get signed up for ReferPro, we're going to give ServiceTitan Hack members a 10% discount off of our normal pricing, and then we'll also be providing a 50% off on the onboarding fee that we charge. After you've been onboarded, we'll actually refund back 50% of that onboarding fee. That's for anybody that decides they want to pull the trigger on this. And I'm going to go ahead and share a QR code that you guys can be able to leverage to be able to go ahead and get booked for a demo. Demos usually run about 30 minutes to be able to show you how the platform works. And like I said, normally about 7 days is what we shoot for to be fully onboarded and going with our platform.
Keith, you should
Perfect.
just say that it's free and you just want 2% of whatever it brings in.
There you go. I need to convince Murphy to pay me 5% for each referral that comes through this webinar right now. Right, Murphy?
JB, you're a generous man. I'll tell you that. You're a generous man. 5%. Let me start referring you. You know what? I'll grab some of those Facebook groups in your area and be dropping that referral link, right?
Hey,
no.
You know how to automate and build bots? I mean, it replies in your thing. So you just drop some bots in the Facebook group and start printing.
Get that cheddar in there, right? But I do expect $200, and I don't really need to store credit with you, though. You know what I mean? That's not gonna help me.
Bill, do you have a water system in your house?
I do. I have a Halo.
I can tell your skin was looking pretty good, but when you see a halo, you say, hell no.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. My brother works for a plumbing company, and so he got it for me for I think it's like $1,500. So I couldn't say no, right?
It's a nice feel-good filter. I get it.
That's what it is, man. That's what it is. So no, I got it for my wife. Keeps her looking young, right?
Nice.
There's nothing that can help me at this point. Nothing. So great, fantastic. So I really appreciate everybody joining today. And I'm going to send out this replay and also send out a link, a link for that 10% off. And that the gold nuggets from JB today were great, man. I'll tell you, those were great. Some things that they're really simple and seem obvious. You just don't think of them when you're operating your business. I'll put that in the email for everybody, post it on Facebook as well, so you can get going and start bringing in that extra 54% of referral money you're leaving on the table. Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. Have a great rest of the week. And again, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us, Bill. JB. See you guys.